What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to have a little discussion video for you today. No face camera, but still one of our kind of sit-down videos that I've done in the past on these weekends, right? So I saw this tweet that was going around. I specifically saw it from a Vish God, who was showing actually Like a Dragon, the man who erased his name. But I think the central point is something I want to touch on because, it's a thing going around, right, where it's like you repeat the phrase and then you show a game that, means something to you, basically. So the prompt is you actually cried playing a video game, and the game, and again, it's the man who erased his name, which, by the way, that scene, if you know, you know, that scene almost got me. And it's something I want to talk about in this video. Like, I didn't cry in that moment, but I mean, man, I got close. I got emotional. I was like, Jesus Christ, they nailed it. I sometimes forget that scene happened, but then when I remember, I'm like, oh yeah, it's one of the best scenes out there. So my tweet back to it was just talking about games being powerful, and I thought, we can talk about like crying in video games, but I also want to just talk about kind of the power of video games, right? So my tweet was, games can be so powerful. This scene got me close. The beginning of The Last of Us, ending of Walking Dead, ending of Life is Strange, and many other moments got me super emotional. The best medium for stories, I'm telling you. So, for me, it really prompted this idea that I wanted to make as a video of just how powerful gaming can be. Like when I see these tweets and you see the impact that a game made on a person. Now, for this specific prompt, you're talking about crying, right? Like emotion in that way. But, you don't have to cry for a game to like get you or, to kind of feel that emotion or to feel that connection with the game. And, I've said this before. I mean, I guess it's a biasness because like gaming is my thing, right? But gaming is, I think, the best medium, when it comes to gaming, television, movies, all that stuff. Now, they're not bad, the other ones. Like, I guess I would say I grew up more with like movies and television. I probably watched more movies than I played games. And I've told the story of like how I got into gaming. Like I'd say it started relatively late, especially when I really got into it, like getting into the PS3 and kind of 360 era. I was, I think, 13. I just turned 13 years old when that happened. So with that being said, though, I do think having experienced at this point definitely hundreds, if not thousands of video games, I do think they are the best ones. And when they hit, they can hit very hard. Like I mentioned in the tweet, like I think when I think of like the emotional thing or just games that kind of get me in a moment, like The Last of Us, the opening, which I think we all know. I mentioned the ending of Walking Dead, ending of Life is Strange. For me, it's a lot of sometimes like closure, like saying goodbye or leaving has always like gotten me. And it could be makes me emotional, like close to crying, or it could just be like that's when a game gets me. I didn't put in the tweet, but like a thing like Persona, I've mentioned this before when I talk about metaphor and what metaphor can do. But Persona 5, saying goodbye to those characters was actually one of the most sad things I think I experienced in a game, because it's like you spend so long with them. And again, that's the difference. That's a big difference to me between gaming and other things. Like when I played Persona 5, I think my clock, my end clock in time was 95 hours. It's like, even, I don't know, like think of the longest shows you've ever watched. Like my wife and I have watched Modern Family several times, and I think that's 11 seasons, but they're like 22-minute episodes. So like, is that even 90 plus hours? I don't think it would be, right? So it's like, so, and I'm not saying like the length doesn't have to matter, but for a game like Persona, just thinking of it in the top of my head, saying goodbye was like, you've connected, like you're in it, you're in the Persona world. These are your people, you know what I mean? Like you're not watching pixels on screen, right? Like you are connected to those pixels on screen. And, saying goodbye to Persona, saying goodbye to Life is Strange. I was just thinking about, even separate from the tweet, I was thinking about Life is Strange, where it's like, that was a 10-month journey from episode 1 to episode 5 back in 2015. And it's like, not only was the impact of the ending of Life is Strange powerful to me, but it's like, that's saying goodbye after 10 months. Most games you don't say goodbye after 10 months. It comes out, you play it in a day, a week, a month, whatever, but you're not waiting for it, and it's not stretching 10 months. And I mean, I'm a big advocate for episodic games. I actually still believe in them because of what they can do, in that way. But, those are kind of things that I think about. I've talked about many of my personal favorite games of like the Sly Coopers of the world, or What Remains of Edith Finch and stuff, or Kingdom Hearts. And I'm trying to like put it into words, but gaming has those moments where I just like either like you tense up or you like get into it, like, you know, almost I'm doing it behind the camera here that you can't see, but almost like jump at the screen, right, where it's like something connected with you, whether it was like a badass line or like an incredible fight scene, or you're doing the fighting, right, in terms of gameplay, or like a, you know, a cinematic story moment or whatever. And you just feel it. Again, I'd say in terms of this year, well, like Astrobot, it just feels so good, right, to actually play. I think to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, with that scene, which, you know, we don't have to spoil it, but, you know, when they determine the fate of Aerith, you know, in that moment, and I mean, it's tough to say without spoiling it, but when you do something and then like the perspective switches to like the sword on the ground, that moment, I lost it. Like, my jaw hit the freaking floor, and I leaned forward. I was like, wait a second, wait, what? And I'm just like, I'm in it. You know, I mean, it gets me. And, you know, again, like, I'm not saying movies and TV shows are incapable of. I think they are. They really are. I've chosen gaming as like my preferred thing, and I've chosen it for the last 15 years. I would say the last 15 years I've been a pretty hardcore gamer. So yeah, I do have a biasness, but I just feel like games, just, you know, playing them, being connected to them, and whether it's like you are that character, however you want to look at it, but games I just think are so special, and they can be special like minute to minute, but also like obviously again for the Twitter thing here, it's more about like the moments. And yeah, I mean, some of the greatest like moments in anything in any medium are from games. I mean, there's definitely moments from TV shows I can think of. I'm a big Breaking Bad guy and Better Call Saul. Movies, you know, Scream, Pirates of the Caribbean, Star Wars, Harry Potter, like, you know, those things can be life-changing. All of these can be life-changing, right? It's just, for me, gaming is the preferred one, is the best one. I think for me, it happens more often, right, in games. It's probably because I play them more often, you know, versus the other things. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to throw that out there to you. And let me know what you guys think about it in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.